my manager at the time, our manager at the time, to exercise the opportunity to meet Sean Combs.
Okay, good job. Because see, the magic of just Bad Boy itself, the entertainment that you guys delivered us, y'all have had Total, you've had Faith Evans, you've got Mace, and so many other artists who grew up, and of course the notorious B.I.G.
Absolutely.
What was it like working with you?
It was absolutely amazing. And let me just say this too. It worked out for the best. I don't think the magic of what we were able to do would have happened had we signed with anybody else. Now, I'm not minimizing anybody else's talent level, but I do think that the perfect blend of Puffy's hip hop influence and us being church boys, we're connected to R&B, what may have us moving to New York, embracing the hip hop culture, blending that in with our gospel influence as well as just crooners of R&B was the perfect match. Perfect match.
Yes, because you guys were like a four-part harmony group, and I would say this. What I'm about to say is a little bit crazy, but you guys were like the male versions of En Vogue, because En Vogue had their harmonies, and you guys had your harmonies, and I could see it if I was alive. I mean, if I was born back then, I could see you guys like coming up, the Janets, the Marys, the Notorious B.I.G. I was still a baby at the time, but yes, I used to turn on BET every day. My grandmother would turn on BET. What's the shows? Planet Groove, and I seen you guys did a set on Planet Groove and with Rachel.
Video Soul, yeah.
Yes. Now only you. That hit single, every time I come on the radio, or when a wedding or a family party, that song is so iconic. Now the magic in this song, like, what was it like, the process creating this song?
That's always a funny story to tell, because Puffy signed us because we were songwriters, not just vocalists. He knew that we were songwriters. We were really a self-contained unit, with Deron being the producer of the group, all of us being lead vocalists, and we had the ability to write. And so when we first got on Bad Boy, Puffy would just give us a 8-bar loop, and then they would just extend it to be 3 minutes and 40 seconds or 4 minutes. So if you can imagine just hearing blank for 4 minutes, that's all he gave us. It was a little tough for us because we were so accustomed to like chords and harmony and all of that kind of stuff. But Puffy was really into the samples and really making sure the samples are what led all of the hits that came out of Bad Boy. But what that did, it pushed us to be even more creative, because we had to hear harmony, so we would make our voices be the chords. We would make our lead vocals and just our creativity help us expand what the sample was doing for the whole 4 minutes. And so with the Only You song, we wrote about 4 hooks, and Puffy was just such a perfectionist. He was like, well, nah, that's not it. We write another one. Nah, that's not it. Write another one. Nah, that's not it. Until one time we said, yo, man, now I know we some good songwriters, and these joints feel good. So we said we're gonna go back and sing to him the first idea that we came up with. We did that. He was like, see, that's what I'm talking about. That's it right there. That's it. But it was the first one that we had sang. We just went back and remixed it a little bit, and that became what the world know as the chorus of Only You. And then just adding Big on it, it just was the icing on top of the cake.
And y'all shot the video right there in New York. Like, the video is iconic. Whenever I go on Google Images, I remember the jackets and everything. Like, the video itself is so iconic. Yes. Yeah. And Big was alive at the time. Like, Notorious B.I.G., a lot of people don't notice about him is that, because I mean, I was terrified. I thought he was always, just what his music represented. But you guys said in some of your interviews that he is just lovable. He's incredibly
Oh man.
talented. And what's the biggest misconception that people have about the Notorious B.I.G.?
It's what you just said. A lot of times people think that, these hip hop artists, they really live the songs that they rap about or whatever, or the lifestyle. And I'm not saying that he did or he did not. But the big that we got to know intimately was, fun loving. He was always the life of the party, would give you the shirt off of his back. As a new artist, we don't really have a whole lot of money. And I can remember times, every time Big would come to the studio, he'd find us. Where my brothers are, what 112. And when he'd find us, he'd ask us every time, y'all eat, y'all got some money in y'all pockets, y'all need anything. And every time he saw us, man, he'd give us $100, or he'd make sure that they sent us the Brooklyn Mint gear, because it was our first time being in the North Cold. We're from the South. So we had no idea what a New York City winter was like. That year, it was the winter, the '96 blizzard. So we didn't have like coats and Parker
Ooh,
jackets and the big bomber jackets, and we didn't have any of that. And he would make sure we had coats, man. He would make sure we had money. He would make sure we had food, man. He would just, and he would take up for us, because Puff would be riding us really hard. And he would always come to our defense, like, man, leave them boys alone. You sign them because they dope. Let them be dope. Um, yeah, man. So I have nothing but great stories about Bi.
and Puffy itself didn't know what to do with the group collectively, but he made it work, and it was just that perfect blend of hip hop and R&B. Because like around this time, Faith was out, Total was out, Mary was
Yeah,
out, Changing Faces, and so many other groups were out around this time. Look at me, like I was born in this era. That I mean, I was. My birthday's coming up. I'll be 27, but
yeah.
literally, I would have been 5 or 7 years old. I would have been still in diapers when you guys
Wow.
came out, and when En Vogue and TLC and Usher and Janet, like so many artists was out during this era. Well, this was a great era of music. Do you
Yeah.
feel as though, and collectively, that R&B has lost its touch, like it just doesn't have that factor that it had in the 90s?
Well, I think it is an injustice when we compare eras, because if we compare eras and we hold the current era to the previous era, then there's really no growth. Um, the '70s, the '60s had to welcome the '70s, the '70s had to welcome the '80s, and so forth. And so, being in 2020, trying to hold that.
Someone said I'm still a baby. Yep.
No, we gotta let these kids grow and blossom, what we did in the '90s, or what happened in the 2000s, or even 2010. We cannot make them stagnant and hold them to what we did in the '90s, because then you don't grow, and we want the culture to continue growing.
Okay, one of my makeup artist, my beauty contributor for here, she says that she agrees, and it's such a fantastic era of music. It was my coming into adulthood age, the soundtrack to my 20s. Yeah,
Absolutely.
y'all lucky. See, I wasn't. I mean, I would have been still in diapers literally when 112 came out. Like the first album itself, those iconic white suits. One of my favorite hit singles to that album is "Now That We're Done," and I think that's the
Yes.
second track. And then
Yep.
"Can I Touch You?" I walked out to
Oh
"Can
yeah.
I Touch You" in a fashion show, and
Nice.
yeah, during my modeling days.
Nice.
But
Nice.
that album itself is so iconic. Did you guys know that this album was going to be gold?
Well, we did not. All we wanted to do was, hear ourselves on the radio, make a video, appear on BT Video Soul, and just do what we would do if we were just at home. And at home, before we got our record deal, we'd all assemble at Duran's house. He'd be on the keyboard, and we'd be around him singing, or the piano singing. But to put out a first album and it go platinum, that's a million people purchased that album. That's no slight feat to see that four guys from the inner cities of Atlanta came together, and now we are a national, international, in some cases global R&B group whose song has spanned countries, and so it truly surpassed what we ever could imagine. But not even knowing what was coming up next, because in 6 albums we've sold over 40 million records worldwide, and I mean, man, it's a complete blessing, and it really far exceeded what I believe our initial thoughts was about being in the entertainment industry.
Okay, one of your fans said, I think they got 5 mics back in the day from the source. But my
Yeah.
question is, why wasn't there no NAACP Image Awards? Like, you guys have Grammys. Like,
Well, a lot of the stuff is political. A lot of it is based off of who's voting, and it also is based off of the timing. I would never say we should have more than what we receive, because I believe that you get what you're supposed to get, and I'm really pleased on what we were able to accomplish, what we are continuing to accomplish, collectively and individually, and I mean, to even be relevant enough that you'd still be interested in talking about the legacy of 112 or Q Parker. I mean, that says that we did a lot. And so whatever we didn't receive, it's all good, because anytime I can see somebody say I was one of those millions, or I bought 5 of those millions, that means we have a relationship that'll never be tainted because of an award or recognition.
yes, y'all are legends. Like, you literally see me. I was about to get out of this chair, but I can't. My knees is bad, and bow, because you are a legend. You are music royalty. I just did an interview not too long ago with Don Robinson of En Vogue, and you
Uh-huh.
guys were all out during the same era. Like,
Yeah.
this is what music was, and the fans are agreeing with this because they're saying yes. Like, we're seeing the verses and everything, and just music get back to where it was. And it's today, nowadays, today, I feel as though it doesn't have that gold factor that was rich in the '90s. Now, I'm going to talk about some more of your biggest hits, like Peaches and Cream. It's over now. You already know you've had so many hit singles back to back to back to back to back. Like, the harmonies vocally, you guys were uncomparable. And I kind of do see a lot of comparisons to like a Take Six and so many other
Oh yeah.
groups vocally and harmonies just out there collectively. So, musically, who are some of your biggest influences?
My influencers were, first of all, in the gospel arena, because growing up as a Kojic church boy, I couldn't really listen to secular music at the time, and so a lot of what you hear uh, with me as an individual vocalist, as well as the group, John P. Key, Take Six, Commission, The Winans, Daryl Coley, uh, James Moore. But then, on the R&B side, anybody that paved the way for 112. So that's the Isley Brothers, the Commodores, Boyz II Men, Jodeci. I mean, anybody, the Isley Brothers, Brian McKnight, Stevie Wonder, Babyface, mix of not only Q Parker, but 112 also.
Yes, and also to add on to that, my makeup artist, she had to point it out. Yes, Q has a amazing, extensive resume. You've written songs for Keisha Cole, Pink, just to name a few. You've written songs for Diddy. You've written songs for a number of artists. What is the songwriting process for you like?
Wow, the songwriting process, it varies. It could be, we get the music first, and then we come up with lyrics. Lyrics can come first, and then we put music around it. The idea can come first. Just kind of depends on where you are and what's around you, what's going on in your life. at that time. So there's really no prototype of how a song or how I create a song. It just kind of depends on what's going on at that time. Are there collaborators, or are there anybody that is also a part of it, or if it's just me by myself? So it just kind of depends.
Like, do you? And I asked Terry Dexter this question. It's a lot of singers. Y'all all were out during this era. Like my favorite singers since I was a baby. Like I grew up listening to you guys, and so did my audience. And like you guys are legends, icons, and I give respect where respect is due. So for you, what's the recording process like? What type of atmosphere and setting? Because I know like Erica Badu, she has her zone. Like Janet has her zone. Each
Mhm.
singer has their zone when they're in the process of recording. And at Bad Boy, you guys were like a family. Like I said, I mentioned
Right.
Faith and Total and Mace, Harlem World, Lil Kim. Like all of you guys were in this era uniquely, collectively, and as a family. And that's what I loved is the fact that Puffy created this and just the genius itself to come together and it turned out perfectly.
Yes. Recording at Daddy's house, you'd be surprised, or you'd never be surprised who would walk into the session. Daddy's house was one that everybody loved to hang out, whether you had a session or not. And I love the fact that you're right, Puffy made it a family to the point where he utilized everybody to introduce the new artist. So,
Yes.
um, Big introduced Total and Faith. I mean, in 112 to the world. 112 introduced Mace to the world. Um, um, hell, Faith Evans wrote some songs for Total. Total was on one of Big's records. Like, I mean, when you talk about a family, it clearly was a family situation. And anytime somebody would be in the studio, you could walk in that session and start humming something, and they'd be like, "All right, go lay it down." And so now you're on that person's record, or now you've written the verse for that person's song.
Okay, okay. Now I heard Mariah Carey and all of them were walking through the studio, and it's just like crazy in Daddy's house. All of these artists around this time in
Oh
this
yeah,
era was
oh yeah.
coming out. Now you've worked with two of the ladies from Escape, Candy. You did a Mother's Love, the stage
Hmm.
play, and then you did a song with Tamika Scott. And
Yes.
oh my God, all of me. That song is so beautiful. Like, how did
Thank
you
you.
and Tamika from Escape collaborate? Like, this should have happened back then. Why now? Like, how did that
Well,
song come to be?
all of us are really, really good friends. You have to understand the music scene in Atlanta back in the 90s. Everybody competed against each other in talent shows. So you'd go to any talent show, you may see Usher, Monica, 112, Jagged, Outkast, Escape, TLC. Like all of us were just, trying our best to get on and get discovered. So, the relationships never depleted itself. So, we had to celebrate TLC because they came out before we did. And then we saw Usher and Monica. Then we came out. Then Jagged Edge came out. Then out. So we've always remained friendly and in touch. And I ran into Tamika. She and I have done a few plays together. And that's like sister. So she called me and was like, "Yo, I got a song. I want you to get on it." And yo, let's do it. It's not even a question of will you. It's just like let's just get it together and let's do it.
And that's what family does. And I seen you in the Mother's Love. I'm like, oh my God. So much nostalgia. You and Candy, Escape and
Yeah.
112, except y'all both come from mega million groups like Amazing itself. And you've mentioned TLC, and yes, they were out definitely before 112, and then 112 came along, and then Blackstreet and so many other groups like Take Six, all of them just itself collectively, you guys just had your own distinct sound and your own distinct look. Like
Hmm.
I have the Room 112 album. Do you guys still have those leather suits? Everybody's talking about the shiny leather suits from the It's Over Now video. Y'all sitting in front of the cars, like that album cover is so iconic. Who comes up with the concepts? Like, do you guys each have a say so?
In the beginning, Puffy had a lot to do with that. Um, but I will say after the third, what up, Courtney? Yo, So you talk about 112. There would be no 112 and the growing and the development of us into young men without higher level Bear. That's Courtney Seals. He was one of our first managers. He along with Kevin Wells. I love you, Bear. What up, man? But yeah, Puffy will come up with a lot of the ideas in the beginning stages, and then once we kind of got a little bit more mature, we started having a little bit more creative control. We would insert our own ideas. But yeah, in the beginning, Puffy, Kevin Wells, Courtney, they all would just kind of like lead us because remember we were only 17 years old, 17, 18 years old, so we didn't really have a whole lot. We just had the talent, and we needed to be nurtured and kind of led, which is why people like Courtney, Kevin, Puff, I always will give love and respect because not only were they helping us to mature as artists, but in a lot of cases, like they were raising us. A lot of us didn't grow up with fathers in the household. I did, but during those critical times, that age of senior year in high school and the early college years, they were really helping us to grow and develop as men, as young men. So yeah, all much love to Courtney, Kevin, and Puff.
And I'm about to give the audience, I can't keep Q long because he's got another appearance to make, but Moesha, Brandy, and we just seen the verses with Brandy and Monica. What was it like to be on the set with Brandy? Because Brandy at the time was at the height of her career. Like the show was taking off, and I remember she did an interview. I think it was on Nickelodeon or one of those channels where she said, "I'm going to act, I'm going to sing, I'm going to dance, I'm going to do it all." And she literally is at the height of her career. And it was the episode where you had Escape, you had 112, you had so many talented artists and individuals. You had Andale Givens, I think is her name. She did the Players Club
Adele.
with Lisa
Yep.
Ray. So collectively, all of this talent on this episode, what was it like to work with Brandy?
Back then, it was just a blessing and amazing to just to be relevant and to be active. Uh, we embraced it all. Brandy is another one. She's like a
Yes.
sister. I call her regularly. We talk regularly. We have a great relationship, great rapport with one another. And every time that episode is aired on television, we get texts, we get memes, or I'll hit her and be like, "Yo, sis, here's our episode." But to have her, for her to have a platform and to invite her friends, her colleagues, her peers onto her show, says a lot about her. And so I'm very grateful that she allowed us to have that opportunity to be on her show.
Okay, one last thing I want to talk to you about because, yeah, we still got a few more minutes. But the Keyparker Foundation, and
Hmm.
it's almost in a way like the Boys and Girls Club. And I love what you're doing, the fact that you're, especially with everything that's going on, I love the fact that people can take selflessness versus selfishness and take it and give back and redistribute and help people in the community. And I love what you're doing. So, how did the Q Parker Foundation come to be?
So about 7 years ago, I went through, one of the most trying times in my family structure. And I saw that how my inability to make sound decisions affected every aspect of my family. When you are married, not only are you married to your spouse, but you're married to mama, daddy, sister, cousin, and everybody. And so when I decided to get my life together and I wanted to give back. And so when I established the Q Parker Legacy Foundation, I wanted our mission to impact every aspect of the family. And so under the Q Parker Legacy Foundation, we have programs. We have Brothers United of Atlanta, which is a safe space for men. My wife has Sisters United of Atlanta, which is a counterpart to the men. We have Youth United of Atlanta, which is our summer camp and mentoring program. We have Couples United of Atlanta, which is our relationship and marriage that my wife and I do together. And then every year we do an initiative, a caroling event at the end of the year for the senior citizens community. And so if you look at it, we are trying to target, and we've been doing it for 8 years, to target every aspect of the family from the children all the way up to the senior citizens.
And I love the fact that you're getting the youth involved because, like I've said in the beginning of the interview, you're a father, you're a philanthropist, you do so many things, and we're seeing what's going on in this country. I hate to bring it up, but they're trying to send the babies back to school, and it's just like you have to
Yeah,
draw the line somewhere as a parent. You know, I have nieces and nephews, but I kind of worry, like with the
yeah.
colleges and everything. So, what's your stance on that with just that alone?
Well, as a parent, nobody's gonna love, your child like you. And you have to do what's best for you, your child, and your family, whatever that is, no matter who likes it or who don't agree with it. At the end of the day, if you can sleep well at night knowing that you've done, and especially for the men, God gave us the responsibility to protect and have provision, not just financial provision, but we're supposed to look after. We are the head of the family, and so as we go, everything else goes. And so part of that is being able to make sound decisions that is going to benefit not only you but your house. And if you have children, you got to do the same for them. So I mean, I personally don't believe in all of that going back to school and vaccines and all of that kind of stuff. We won't be doing it over here. But again, you have to do whatever you feel is best as a parent, and whatever that is, man, rock out with it and keep moving.
Exactly. And that's the best advice that parents can turn right now because they're having virtual online learning. And I know you too, it's like the balance. So how do you find the balance? Because I think, who did I ask that? It was Kanye Doss. It's a neo soul singer by the name of Kanye Doss. I'm pretty sure you've heard of her. She's
Yeah,
amazing. She's talented.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
asked her, I said, how do you balance motherhood and your career? For you, how do you balance fatherhood and your career? And you got all of these Grammys and all these awards, like all this success. How do you balance it out?
Well, it takes time. With maturity comes the ability to learn how to balance. Uh, Too much of anything is never good. And so, because I am a husband, father, philanthropist, visionary, creator, songwriter, all of that, I have to make sure that nothing gets neglected. And in order to do that, you have to instill some balance and be committed and dedicated to making sure no one thing gets too much time and that anything lacks the time and commitment from you.
It's definitely amazing how you're able and capable to balance it. I don't know, for me, I have to take care of my mom, I have to take care of my family and making sure that everybody is all right, especially in these times where we're not physically able to get close to our loved ones like our
Hmm.
grandmothers, our grandfathers. And I know
Right.
for me, we have to make it work with this pandemic. This could be the norm until we get back to some normalcy. But my next question to you is, what are the essential qualities that make a good musician, and what advice could you give to young men and young women who are looking to become a singer?
Advice is just be you, be your authentic self. Don't compromise for nobody. Be committed to bettering you. Practice, perfect you. Nobody can perfect you like you. And I would say for those that are interested in getting into the industry, learn the business. It's called the music business. It's really called the business of music. Because if you don't know, you can't be in something if you don't know the rules and if you don't know the guidelines. And take it from so many of us who came in relying solely on talent, who ended up having to, go through years of not getting our just due contractually and financially because we weren't really knowledgeable of the business of music. Yeah.
And to add on to what Q just said, it's a lot of hard work and dedication. I know people are asking me, like, how do you do it? You do fashion, you do makeup, you do beauty, you do all of these things. I said it's hard work, and I went to beauty school. I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to confess. I'll be
Hmm.
honest because Q was here. I failed my cosmetology exam the first time, and I just cried. I remember crying all the way back home. But my father said, "Oh no, you going back to retake this test." And I went back and I
Hmm.
passed it with flying colors and registered cosmetologist. I got it. So to those of you who second guess or doubt yourself, remember what God has for you and what He has in store for you. Trust and believe it's for you and nobody else. They can't take that away from you. So that's basically what Q is saying. And to have a dream, to have a passion. I can't sing a lick. I'll stick to fashion and doing the interviews and
Hmm.
let 112 and Q Parker and the artists collectively continue to give us great music. Now, one more question, and I'm going to conclude because I know you have another engagement. We can't keep them, ladies and gentlemen, and I wish I would have got a chance to. We're so wrapped up in the conversation, but my last question is to you. What is one of your favorite performances you've done so far in your career?
Wow, one of my favorite, man. It's so many to we're talking about a 25 year career to put into one. I don't know if I can. I really don't. I've been blessed to have an amazing career, filled with meeting some dope people, performing in some amazing venues, visiting places that I never imagined that I would. So to just kind of relegate that to one answer, I just can't. I would maybe if you just made me, if you twist my arm, I probably would say the year we performed at the Grammys, and that was also the night we won our first Grammy.
Woo!
Sharing the stage with Sting, Faith, the choir, Puff, and in front of millions. That was probably one of the most memorable.
Now, is it true that Puffy cursed because y'all didn't go on stage and accept y'all award?
You know what? I'm not sure. I don't know that story. It would have been dope to go on there and actually say, I love you, Mom. However, at the end of the day, man, I know what's in my trophy room. Um, and so, you know, you have to say Grammy Award winning artist Q Parker. So, I mean, to me, that's just as great. It's just as good.
And another one of my hit singles from your album is "The Conversation." That should have been and that should have been a full single. Like it shouldn't have just been an interlude. And then you did the
Yeah,
song with Kelly Price, you and Duran, and I have that album. That song
yeah,
is beautiful. You Complete Me. If you guys don't know which song I'm talking about, particularly, and then you did a song with Dietrich Haddon and Avery
mhm,
Wilson
yeah,
and Eric Dawkins for the May 4 album. Like incredible,
yeah.
incredible albums collectively and incredible hit
Thank you.
singles collectively.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Before I get out here, I just tell everybody to, stay connected with me, Q Parker 112 on all platforms. But then, the foundational information is qparkerlegacyfoundation.org. Q Parker Legacy Foundation on all social media, and then my latest LP, The Bridge Project, designed to cement and unify men in this call for brotherhood. 55 guys representing the gospel industry and the R&B industry. It is available. The full album isn't available yet, but the two singles, Made For and I Need You, are available on all the DSPs. And that is officialbridgeproject.com and Official Bridge Project on all social media.
So make sure you guys go and stream whatever projects Q is working on. Cayman Kelly, oh my
What
God,
up,
I got an
Cayman?
interview with you. I got an interview with you on the 7th. That's my mom's birthday. And we just had Sparkle. Everybody remembers Sparkle, R. Kelly. You guys were all out during this era. And she came in and blessed it. You missed it, Q. So, yes, so
Yes.
many. I'm starstruck right now. But I can't keep Q anymore, ladies and gentlemen. And Cayman, I will see you Thursday. And you guys, make sure you guys go and stream Q's hit single, Need You. Definitely go and stream that. And thank you so much for an incredible interview. This was like a dream come true. I'm literally keeping composed in my seat and not fangirling out over here.
Well, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak with you as well as your following and all of your people. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much. And that means a lot coming from you. Like you are a legend. I bow to you. And Cayman
Wow.
Kelly too. You and the audience out there, Cayman. So thank you guys so much. And thank you, Q, for again an amazing interview. And
I
thank you,
appreciate you.
Dora. Thank you, Dora.
All right, y'all.
Take care, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all, please be safe and wear your mask and wash your hands. And make sure you guys go and follow Q. Q Parker 112. Great interview. Thank you guys so much. This was an incredible interview. I was nervous. My nerves were shooting through the roof, but God be willing. So make sure you guys tune in for my other interviews that I have coming up. Follow my makeup artist, my beauty contributor, Nala Mai. Follow my girl, Steph. Definitely go and check out the Bomb Lashes. And I will see you guys tomorrow on Style by Stevie. Trust and believe. We've got some great stories, so make sure you guys tune in tomorrow at 9 a.m. And we have some more interviews lined up for this week. You held it down. Girl, my nerves were shooting through the roof. I was so nervous. But thank you guys so much for y'all support. Y'all gonna make me cry, and I'm not gonna cry because I don't want to mess up my makeup. But I'm a G, so I'm a G it out today. But y'all take care. Sis, you're awesome. The best is yet to come. Yes, God is opening so many doors for me, and I'm super duper excited to just see what's in store. Like, I'm happy. You guys just don't know. Like, I'm on a high of happiness right now. That's Keyparker from 112. Like, legend. Legend. So, again, thank y'all so much for all this love. Now, I'm going to stay on a little bit longer with you guys. I can stay and talk. Because I know you guys have been wondering, Miss Stevie, why ain't you been live? You know, honey, a queen is busy building her empire. But you guys, I'm going to get off because the time is winding down. I'm going to get off, and I love you all, and I will talk to y'all all. If you're in the BCC group, y'all go and follow my makeup artist, my beauty contributor. Shout outs to my girl, Melanie Nalama Bridges. Shout outs to my girl, Stephanie Davenport. Shout outs to my girl, Tria Jefferson. She's guest co-hosting with me all week long. I'm going to cut it short because it's about to cut off.